Hello, everybody. Season 4, Season 3, Episode 6 of Halt and Catch Fire. I just finished watching it, and welcome to my episode review of it. So, of course, if you did not see this episode, please, the full spoilers for this episode are going to follow, so make sure you watch this, or if you don't care about spoilers, then move on, if you're one of those rare people. So let's talk about what happened. Once again, this show has never let me down. And, there's times where some episodes are better than others, but nothing is ever to the point where it's like, I really hated this. One of the consistently best shows on television right now. So anyways, let's dig into it. Let me tell you my thoughts on this. So, this episode was called... Okay, it was called And She Was. Don't really know what that's supposed to mean. But anyways, let me just add the episode title onto my notes. So, it opens up with Joe and Ryan in an empty room, and they were finally doing that NSFNet project, and they just opened it up. They finally started doing what they've been doing with the whole yards and the pins and yarns on the pin board, and they finally set up all the mainframes, so it's nice. It's nice to see a montage every once in a while. Rocky does them, and so does Halt and Catch Fire. So next up, I guess it happened off screen, but Cameron finally fired Doug and Craig because Diane was okay with it from the beginning, and of course, as we all know, Donna lied about it. And so Cameron found out, but they never said anything about that yet. That's a bit later on in the episode. So, that's been one arc that's been going along during this whole season, and now that has finally come to a close, and yet again, more friction going on between Donna and Cameron. Next up, there's an offer to buy Mutiny, and it's from CompuServe, and they want to purchase Mutiny for $20 million. And Donna thinks it's a great idea. Cameron does not think it's a good idea because, it's like, Cameron's a punk rocker. She doesn't want anyone to be owning her company, and she doesn't want to deal with corporations and going public and dealing with stocks and boards and all that hubbubaloo bullshit. But of course, speaking of boards, we're gonna get into that later too. So the next thing that happened, was Cameron didn't want to go with Donna to Diane's place over in Sonoma. And it was interesting because at first, I thought this meant that she was going to spend the time with Tom, or that Tom was going to finally get over there to California. But no, that's not what happened. And then, the other thing that I thought was a good moment was we finally got to see Ryan wear something other than a Nike shirt or a hoodie or whatever it was. He actually got a tailor-made suit for him so that he too can have a suit that Joe wears. And so I like that he was right there with the board talking about the meetings. That was very interesting. It's like he's definitely higher up in the rankings now, which, I'm happy for him because it is what he has always wanted. So, and of course, the board at Macmillan Utility was not, excuse the pun, they were not on board with wanting to get the on the NSFNet plan to happen. But, so they still had to convince them. So next up, here is possibly what I think is, so without a doubt, one of the greatest things to see. Gordon and Cameron bonding over Super Mario Brothers. And it's funny how it's like we're all so used to that game, and yet because back then, it was still brand new, and they were all still trying to figure it out, and it took them all day. And and Joni and and Haley, I think is their other kid's name. Yeah, Joni and Haley said, "Hey, can we play?" And they said, "No, no." And then he says, "Go over, play in the backyard, kids. We gotta finish this shit." I just thought that was such a great moment, and it's also a good moment too because we never saw. I don't think we ever got to see the too many scenes of just Gordon and just Cameron bonding. We haven't gotten to see that in quite some time. Yet, I think they haven't had that much time to just themselves with just a scene of just those two. We haven't seen that since season 1 when they were at Joe's house or Joe's apartment back then. Because remember, they were both on the. You remember that? They were both on the floor waiting for Joe to arrive to tell them that they could go to Comdex in Vegas to help sell the Giant. You remember that, right? That was such a good episode. Anyways, and this is a great episode too. So yeah, that was nice. Got to see something we don't see much of: Gordon and Cameron bonding. And but then of course Gordon fell down and broke the TV, and so it's like his brain damage. It's still there. And yet it's not getting worse, it's not getting any better. They're just things that happen. And and it was in those times when you get to see that Cameron, she does care for Gordon, because they've known each other now for 3 years, and of course she lives with him and Donna, so it's like yeah, of course they would be close to each other now, so of course she would be concerned when he just falls down on the ground. But I like how whenever he was explaining his brain damage to her, I love how he mentioned something like, so he says, sometimes my hands shake, or sometimes, and Cameron just says, sometimes you just crash through a zenith or something like that. That was a good line. But I think he also mentioned something about an operation to be done, but he says it would cost a fortune. I don't know. But I wonder if that's something that he's going to... Oh, you know what? Because maybe it was this operation to help fix the brain damage. Okay, here we go. Here's a Mr. Gaming Guitarist prediction for Season 3 of Halt and Catch Fire. What if Gordon earns all the money from Macmillan Utility because of things that happen later on from this episode? What if he goes and, because he earns all that money from Macmillan Utility, what if he uses that money so that he can pay to get that operation done? And I'm going to be so proud of myself if I get that prediction right. And so next up, Donna gets Diane's mansion, or I think that's a mansion, all to her. It is a mansion. What am I saying? She gets that mansion all to herself, and it's funny how she is like pining after her clothes, and she's like touching all of them, and then she just starts wearing them. I thought that was really funny. So next up, hey, you get because right now 4K and OLED TVs and HDR, that's the big old top of the line thingamabobs going on in TV right now for technology these days. But back then, it looks like they bought a DLP TV when that must have been fucking expensive, because it's like that was a projection set. Like, I don't know if it's like a form of DLP because it's projection, right? I didn't even know that they had 50-inch TVs back then, so that must have been like absolutely brand new, like $5 or $10, easily $20,000 or something back then. Maybe Cameron used mutiny money, I don't know, to pay for that. So next up, Oh yeah, so we got to see Kim, Diane's daughter, and so we got to see her and Donna and some of her college friends just talk a bit. But I really enjoyed how Kim's friend thought that Donna was Cameron. And then but he was freaking out. It's like, oh, you own Mutiny? Oh yeah, that's great. And I don't know if Donna got that, if that must have been a good moment for her, because and like she said later on in the episode, it's like she was telling Cameron, they see you as the genius, they see me as just the mom. So it's like Donna doesn't get much praise or much recognition. So that must have been that must have been really nice that she gets complimented about Mutiny for once. So next up, oh yeah, so Cameron and Tom are using Commutiny or I think that's what they call it, the Mutiny chat. And then he says that she isn't telling anyone that they're engaged. And that's the thing about Cameron. She is not good at being vulnerable. She just isn't. That's easily not her strong suit, and definitely a personal problem of hers. So you can tell it's like big things, big moments like that where you have to open up. You can tell she does not like that. Sort of like Pamela in Louie when she says feelings are gross. So, oh, and then of course Donna, because you could tell her and Gordon were stoners back then. So she was asking, hey, do you have any pot? And then she says, well, we can offer something else, and it's shrooms. Now, I wished we could have seen Donna high on shrooms right at the moment that it happened, because I think that would be hilarious to watch, but we never got to see that. Instead, we just saw her at the mirror. I guess after the high came down for her. So then we got to see Bosworth and Diane. So Diane had a blind date, but Bosworth was just at that bar. But looks like Diane shut him down, and the both of them just went over to the bar, and I got some quality bonding time. And of course, to the surprise of no one, they actually fucked. Finally, but Donna was asking Bosworth. Diane was asking Bosworth if he would like to go there. If he would like to go to the house, but go over to her house, and he says, nah, it's late. But then you can see how that was the wrong thing. He changed his mind. He said, no, I'll go. And then Diane just says no. So, I wonder if that's how that relationship's going to play out in the future, but we'll see what happens. So, next up, oh yeah, so after all this time, we finally get to see Donna meet Gordon. We get to see Cameron meet Donna, and it's funny because she was just laying there on the grass, and you just see her boots there, and for a while I thought, who is that? And then it's like, oh yeah, of course, it's Cameron. Duh. We finally got to see them. We got to see them both open up to each other, where last time it was Cameron, but this time it was Donna, and how she said, but she, like I said before, she says, you're the genius, everyone just sees me as just the mom. And and Cameron says, are we right back to where we started again? And Donna says no. But then, and you can tell in that moment, once again, Cameron says, I can't do any of this without you. So, and she says, did you ever think that we would be right here in this moment, looking at the stars and the grass? And I just thought that was, just a really nice scene between the two of them. Like, they had another good scene when they were yelling and getting their feelings off each other's chest in that boardroom when she came back after not being there for a week or something. So next up, oh yeah, so for a while we got to see Cameron and Gordon talk about how much Gordon, rightly so, is still pissed at Joe for stealing his idea. And he says, it's not even about the money. I'm just mad that he isn't admitting that he would steal my idea. And then so it's kind of a surprise that I saw Cameron meet Joe at his place. But I thought that was such a Joe thing to do, or how Cameron still stood there right at the front of the door, but then Joe just reached by her to open to open his door with his. Actually, wait, is that even a house, or is that an apartment, or just a really big condo? I don't know, to be honest. But either way, it's a big fucking place. Wouldn't mind having that to myself, but. Anyways, so you can tell Joe's trying to play his best Joe moves where, he says, oh, we should. But it's really interesting, though, because all Cameron is there to say is give Gordon the credit. And he says, we should celebrate. You got married. And then he's like, that's a wedding ring on your finger, isn't it? It's like, oh shit. So it's really funny how Joe is the first one, or the first person to point it out. And how he tells her something about, I felt alone. Or he said something like, you felt alone. So you just stuck with the person that was closest to you at that time. And then he says, I know what that's like. And he thinks, and then that Cameron is there to fuck him again, but no, that's not the case at all, because he gets closer to, or no, she gets closer to him, and Joe tries to kiss her, and she backs away and says, give Gordon the credit. So you can tell that's completely gone, any possibility of her and Joe being in another relationship again. That bridge is fully 100% burned. And yeah, and also one thing that I have to say, so we were at the board meeting, we're at the board again, and and of course I forgot, so that guy did at the board, I think the guy with the son who took cocaine at Joe's party, that guy, this whole time, I had no idea that was Matthew Lillard. I did not recognize him at all. It's like, God damn, Shaggy, you got old quick. Because I remember seeing Matthew Lillard's name in the credits before. I'm like, I've been seeing his name in the credits for this whole season. It's like, who is he? It's like, oh shit, I did not. I think it's because it's like he's got really short hair. So it's like I don't recognize him like that, and I guess it's because I've only seen him with, no pun intended. I only see him with his regular Shaggy type hair. But yeah, Matthew Lillard. Been a long ass time since I've seen him, because I've only seen him in two things: Scooby-Doo and The Bridge on FX, which was a great show. And speaking of which, Annabeth Gish, I don't know who she was on The Bridge, but I believe she's Diane on this. So anyways, so two people from The Bridge on Halt and Catch Fire. So anyways, so you see that, so you think that Joe is happy because the board approved the NSFNet deal, but the project, but then he meets up with, I'll call him Matthew Lillard because I don't know the character's name. He meets up with Matthew Lillard, and he tells him that him and the board are stripping away all his power, and if you have another outburst, your money, your equity is all completely gone. And I'm like, damn. So Joe once again is right back to where he was at the end of season 1, where he really had no company, he had nothing, and it's like, shit, he is gridlocked to being, he just shows up for work and he sits down there, and it's like all his power is gone. And we all know Joe hates not having power, so that's quite the fuck shit going on for him. He's quite in a pickle. So I wonder how exactly is he going to get out of this. But I've also really enjoyed that transition where the camera moved over to the small black and white TV, and you could see he's back in the lawsuit room again where he was talking with the lawyers. And then he just says, and you can tell, he says, everything that you made by there had nothing to do from outside software influences. And he just said, yes. And then he says, no, I stole it. Everything belongs to Gordon Clark. Everything that I did for this company, it all belongs to him. And I thought, damn, that, it's like big moment for him. He showed some balls, finally admitting the truth. And we all know Joe loves to manipulate, and he loves not admitting to things, and he finally did it. So I wonder if it really was Cameron saying it to him that fully convinced him to admit the truth. But I don't know. But either way, I'm glad Joe said it. So I hope things end up happening all right. And I wonder that when Joe and Gordon, because it's inevitable they're going to meet up again this season, I hope that that Gordon will finally deservedly win this lawsuit. So next up, and of course, the one last thing I need to mention, Cameron told Gordon that she got married. So she's and also that's a big thing too. They actually got married. So I wonder if it was that thing where you just go to a courthouse or like a city hall where it's like you don't have a wedding, you just do it really quickly. That's probably what happened. And because here's the thing. I like Tom a lot. He is just a legitimately just a regular, good, honest guy who it's like he does nothing but good things for Cameron. He's always there for her. He listens to her. It's like he calms her down. He grounds her. Kind of like. And please forgive me for making this reference, but it kind of reminds me of Arrow, where Ray treated back in season 3. Ray treated Felicity very good, like he was a good guy to her back then. But anyway, that's all. That felt like forever ago. We're going into season 5. Whatever, fuck that. That's for a whole other video. Anyways, I'm just really glad that it's finally happening. Now, let's hope. I want to see Tom back. Let's see him use his brain of his, and let's see what brand new ideas that him and Cameron can come up with. So they're gonna make a mutiny. They're gonna make a mutiny even better. So next up, So predictions for next episode. I really want to see. I want to see Joe and Gordon meet face to face again, so they can settle this lawsuit deal finally. And I wonder how Joe is going to handle, the board stripping his power. I really wonder how that's going to happen and how it will all play out. So that's because it felt like Joe, very much like Piper in season 3 and season 4 of Orange is the New Black. It feels like Joe is really taking a backseat this season. It's like most of the focus is really just on Donna and Cameron and Gordon. That's what it feels like the main focus of the show is. But it felt like this episode we really got to see a lot more progression of Joe's character arc this season. So anyways, another fantastic episode. Don't have anything bad to say. So this is, from me, I would say this is another 9 out of 10 from me. I liked it a lot. I mean, what can I say? It's a 9. Anyways, I will see you guys on my next review for next week. So also, I want to put a reminder out there. If you aren't subscribed to my channel yet, I'd appreciate it. And I would also appreciate if you wanted to support my channel over on Patreon And you can also, I'd appreciate it if you would want to listen to my first ever music release. I released an EP called War of the Insides. I have a playlist for that, and you can see it. I've released the 3 tracks. I'd appreciate it if you would give that a listen and let me know your thoughts on it. I'm very proud of it. So anyway, those are my plugs at the end. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you for next week's episode. All right, when I review it. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for Season 3, Episode 7. Bye.